find these misemos depending on who's coming and what is being discussed. But I'm saying even without the money that Sifuna gives and the other members of parliament, the banana leaves will dance because Omwami, things are bad. So
let me ask you then,
yes,
Senator, is there an organization, a structure of organizing, like tomorrow's demos?
Yes.
Is there a way in which you're mobilizing resources?
What do you mean by resources? I've told you how we mobilize resources.
No, you haven't. I'm asking now for the details.
I have told you.
Because we have, you have your vehicle, you have other vehicles.
There are three sources, actually 3 sources of money and resources for political parties. The first one is the political parties fund, which I have told you the challenges we are facing because it has been stifled. There is every intention to kill opposition parties in this country because the ruling party, the UDA party, they will find other ways of financing them, even through public exchequer. But we don't want to go
there
to
is
that.
a political
There is a
fund.
political parties fund.
Yeah.
There are donations by members and subscriptions by members. I, as a life member of ODM, pay 5,000 shillings every year towards my political party.
To ODM.
To ODM.
Okay.
Secondly, every single month, as an elected member of ODM, I pay 20,000 shillings. I am one member of parliament, but we have almost 100. So each one of us pays
from your salaries.
From my salary, it is deducted.
It goes to the ODM.
It goes to the ODM party.
Yes.
Yeah. Then each MCA, we have almost over 500 MCAs elected under ODM, and this is across the Azimio parties. Yeah. It's not just ODM. So that is where we get. And then donations. If you look at the Political Parties Act, it allows for donations to come from individual members of the public or individual members of a political party. That is how we finance our activities.
I get all that. So now, with the Azimio rallies,
yes,
what I'm asking is specifically, so as the leadership of Azimio,
yes,
have you sat down and now agreed that for Thursday, for example, ODM, you'll contribute $1 million, Jubilee, you'll put in $1 million, NAC Kenya, you'll put in $2 million, Wiper, you'll put $1 million, like that? Have you now agreed how you're financing Thursday? So that we know that Sifuna, you'll go and
because you see, like for tomorrow, I don't know what the bill for tomorrow is. What is the bill for tomorrow? Because
so how are you mobilizing money for tomorrow?
That's what I'm saying. Money is not needed tomorrow. All we need is the people, Eric. And the only time when we have to look for resources is the after the event. You find 10 people have been arrested. You need to pay cash bail for them. We call members of parliament. We do ad hoc karambes quickly. We just know, yes, we need there are 10 people at X police station. We need X number of lawyers. We need 100,000 shillings for cash bail. We just fundraise there. That's
so
the
money
only
is not even coming from the party?
No.
So for
because
example,
you see,
we can say
the money that goes to the party goes to support programmatic activities. The party is an institution, Latif.
Yes.
The party does not exist to plan demos.
Do demos.
Yeah.
That was exactly my point.
The party exists for other things. For instance, right now, I am supposed to be paying rent for all the county party offices that are there. Those are programmatic manenos. We need materials.
I get all that. So the question directly.
Yes.
You're saying there is no mobilization of money by all the political parties.
No, we don't need money. I am telling you, all I need tomorrow, for instance, is to pop up with my car, which everybody knows. I have campaigned with it. The sound system that we have to fuel that car. We don't need a harambe to fuel my car. I can fuel my car. So all we need to do is to go to the people, like we did on Monday. When we go into Kawangware, for instance, you are telling me all those 200,000 to 300,000 people were mobilized by whom? They didn't even know we were coming there. And tomorrow, you don't even know where we are going. Yeah.
Okay. As we're looking at these demos, Senator, I think the question, and it's good to hear the answer from as many people as we can to then understand what outcome is being sought after.
Yes.
We know what the demand is in terms of the mass protests will continue in this manner until certain things happen.
In fact, the
thing is to ask then, the guarantee that is still being sought after, where are you now going towards tomorrow?
Now, this is the last week that we will be giving notification for Maandamano. Because what we have realized is that these notifications have no purpose. We understand the genesis of the development of the law and exercise of Article 37, The intention was that you give notification to police for them to be able to provide security for the protesters. But what we have realized is that the notification now has become an invitation for police to visit violence on us. You people have followed us, and I want to thank the media for braving what is essentially a very ruthless attack on people who are unarmed. You know, if you look at, for instance, all the processions we have had, we move very peacefully. Everything goes well. People are cheering you. They're happy to see you. You stop the convoy. You speak to them. Once you're done, you move forward to another place. There's another crowd waiting for you. But in that process, it took us maybe 10 minutes from the time that we left Chungwa House. And by the time we were inside Kawangware, the police were already there. They start firing at us using the water cannons for no particular reason. And in fact, when we left Chungwa House, I told the journalists, because you know you are my friends, I told them that this time around they are going to target your equipment, because you know these people want to switch off the lights, and you know very few good things happen in darkness city. So they were targeting to blast your cameras with water, and that's exactly what happened. So that first of all, when there is no accountability, because the media, your presence in these protests are saving lives. I am probably just still alive because they could see that there were cameras there shooting back. So we are saying these notifications are not serving any purpose. They were supposed to be for invitation to protect us, but they are now inviting people, the police, into our protest so that they can harm us. So going forward, from next week, there is no day we are going to issue a notice for maandamano. It will just happen spontaneously, because we have realized it doesn't make a difference. You comply with the law, you give a notification, they still, without any constitutional power, declare the thing unlawful. So what we are going to do going forward is that maandamano will happen any day, anywhere, spontaneously, because there is no purpose of us giving this notification. Number two, where are we now? You see, at the end of the day, I have told people that it's not as if the demands by the opposition are nebulous, or you are unable to ascertain what it is that we're asking. We're asking for things that are known, and some of them are actually based on promises that were made by the current regime. So, if you, we have said time without number that Sifuna, as a senator of Nairobi, my salary is public. I can afford unga even if they decide to sell a packet at 1,000 shillings. So, you know, I am not doing this for myself, because I can afford unga. The people that I represent, because if I told one of these, you know, I went to see my bishop of Nairobi, the Archbishop of the Catholic Diocese, and I told him that he probably gets the same messages I get, because you know when people are in distress, they seek out leaders and they seek out the leaders of the faith. But I told him I wish we could exchange our phones so that he spends a day with my phone just to read the distressing messages that we receive. We are also human beings. Every single day you are reading 1,000 messages of people saying they have slept hungry. What do you think it does to you as a human being? You know, every single day people are telling you, my children are in the house, I am unable to take them to school. So we have told this government that if you want this maandamano to end, in fact, the maandamano is driven by people. If it is just Sifuna and Raila walking in the streets, it's not maandamano. So can you take away the people from us by taking away the reason why we are fighting for these people? Stand up today and announce that unga is 70 shillings, the way you promised. I will have nothing to tell the people of Nairobi. Why would I bring them to the streets? It is that simple. This is a promise he made. And by the way, they have had more than sufficient time. You remember, just a few, the promise was that immediately he puts down the Bible, he will work on the cost of living. Then he told us that in the initial days, there was some fertilizer that came from, was it Russia? He told us now this fertilizer is going to be applied on the crop currently in the field. And once we harvest this, the food prices are going to come down. That maize was already harvested. What happened when the maize was harvested? They started threatening farmers that you have to sell it at this particular price, or else we are going to import GMO maize. We are the ones who stood up and said no, because we had promised that we will not import a single bag of maize until the maize in the stores of our farmers is bought. They blackmail our farmers. Right now, they are telling us about a second crop. They have brought another story of fertilizer. And you people in the media know, even today, farmers are saying that fertilizer is substandard. These people are playing games with us. Right now, Rigathi Gachagua has asked for another 6 months Another 6 months do. And for us, they always ask us, what is the alternative? Why is the opposition not giving alternatives? We have given them an alternative, a very simple one. Even if you dispute it, by the time we were going to the election, whatever the purpose of that was, I was buying unga at Naivas for 100 shillings because of the subsidy.
Okay.
Now,
you did?
Yes. And I have receipts for it. I was the senator of Nairobi.
Yeah.
I was in a campaign. I was an aspirant then.
You were a candidate.
Yes. I was buying unga because sometimes you go into campaigns and people ask you for unga. And you can ask the management of Naivas. You know, these are not things I can make up. I even have receipts for this thing. I bought unga at 100 shillings because of the subsidy.
How many times?
There were challenges. Now, I go through a packet of unga maybe once a week. Because it's just me and my 6-year-old daughter. She doesn't
No,
eat
you
as
have
much
receipts.
as
You
me.
have receipts, so I'm asking.
Yeah,
how
so
many
I
receipts you
can.
have.
The point I want to demonstrate to you is that it is possible with the application of that subsidy to bring the cost of unga down. And we are saying the subsidy doesn't have to be permanent. Because you are working on all these other programs, or you've told us you're subsidizing production. Let's wait for a crop. We can wait for 3 crops. Let's say the subsidy will be in place for 6 months. What we are saying, Eric, is that as we wait for your programs, these grand programs you have to reinvent our economy and so on and so forth, we need to eat today. I am hungry now.
So apply a
You can't
subsidy
tell me
immediately.
that I will eat in 6 months. It's not possible.
Apply a
so
subsidy
we have,
immediately.
yes, we have given the alternative. You ask us for alternatives all the time. Apply that subsidy so that at least you assuage the condition of the people as we wait for these other grand programs to come into effect. And the problem is, even after lifting or removal of that subsidy, we don't know where that money has gone. What we are hearing is there's 800 million shillings that is being set aside to purchase cars for Musalia Mudavadi, to purchase cars for Rigathi Gachagua, and for Ruto. What we are hearing is CASs, immediately they were sworn in. In fact, we are protested. These are an unnecessary appendage. You are spending 2 billion shillings on 50 people, and yet this is money that could go to help to assuage. You see, I don't know how you people interact.
Senator, let me ask you a simple question, just based on that. Do you think that there is, from what we're seeing, because we've been told that, I mean, and this is the thing, because we now have to be able to connect the two.
Yes.
The mass action that we are seeing today, and then the probable results of that.
Yes.
We have to. And this is the thing. Will the mass action then lead to a probable result? And the question is, do you then, with what you've said now, do you then think that they don't have a desire, the government of the day does not have a desire to reduce the cost of food which Kenyans need today?
There is absolutely no desire, because desire is something you can ascertain. You can tell from the conduct and the actions of someone that there is a desire to do something about a certain problem. But look at their priorities. Even as we speak, I'm a member of the Energy Committee in the Senate. These people are trying to be clever. They have no intention of lowering the cost of living. Because we in the Energy Committee, because Kenya Power used to send us a detailed power bill, and we sat and we asked ourselves, what is the one thing on this bill, this itemized bill, if we dealt with, we would actually reduce the cost of power and assuage the situation of the people. So there was this thing called fuel cost charge, which we zeroed in as a committee. Fuel cost charge is the charge we pay for the fuel used in generation of electricity using diesel and the other, thermal sources. So we identified even the power plants. There's one in Muhoroni, there's one here in Thika, there's another one down at the coast in Kipevu. And we called the Kenya Power people to Naivasha and asked them, what would it take for you to remove just one of these fuel plants from our grid? Now, it's a very simple solution. Kenya Power know it. They told us that there is a power generation plant somewhere in Sondu. Yeah? And the problem is that this power plant has no connection to the South Nyanza side.
Which power plant? The hydroelectric?
Yes, at Sondu.
Yes, it's on the river.
And that if they do that line that connects Sondu to South Nyanza, and then they are doing another line from to connect the geothermals to the coast, we could actually take out 2 of those power plants. Now, what came as a shock is that instead of us now progressing that argument, and these people realizing that we are looking at the detailed bill, because that's what the law requires. You have a right under the Consumer Act
to scrutinize.
Not to scrutinize, to be given information for you to fully understand the product you're consuming.
Yeah.
What they do, instead of us dealing with the reduction of power, They go now and hide all the charges in one lump sum so that we, the representatives of the people who have been following up on these issues, are unable to follow up on where the problem is. There is no intention. We have just had a report that now electricity is going to go up 60%. These people have no intention, They have no intention, and in fact, they have no plan. Because if there was a plan, by now, you would be able to see the plan. So what we're saying is, we cannot keep quiet. If I was elected to be a representative of the people, I will represent those people.
Mheshimiwa, when you say there is no plan,
yes,
and yet you say the activities going on,
yes,
if the activities, as you say, are not intended to better the life of the citizen,
yes,
and yet the activities going on, what plan do these activities point you towards?
No, I think there is a nefarious plan by people to enrich themselves at the expense of the public. Because if you are intended on helping people, we could see those pro-people, activities. If somebody comes in and the first priority, when they were campaigning, they were saying they will start at the bottom, yeah? And the first priority was to engage with the DCI and the EACC to get the people off the hook, those who are facing criminal charges, got off the hook so that they could come then into cabinet. You hear, City, things that are so worrying, and I'm sure for people like you who have followed the democratic process in this country, that somebody sat down and drew a cabinet memo to remove parliamentary oversight in the disposal of public assets. I can assure you that is not something that is being done for the public benefit, because every time, and I've said before, every time people say, sasa wacha tuzime taa, I am telling you, my friends, you know for a fact that this is supposed to achieve nefarious ends, So what we want to do is we will continue to put these people on the spot on behalf of Mwananchi, because that's what I was elected to do. Some people, don't understand. My existence to some people is very grotesque. It doesn't make sense to them why Sifuna behaves the way that he does. But I know you need me here. You want somebody to be saying the things that I am saying. You want somebody to be making this noise, because you can't do it yourself. You know it. So we will continue to hold these people to account. And we are saying, this protest, if Ruto stands today and says, yes, he has returned the subsidy, even if it's for 3 months, let the people feel at least some relief. And then the question of reconstitution of the IEBC panel, because it's a big issue. It's a very big issue. We are saying that in a democratic process, you cannot be the person who selects the referee on your own. And I will tell you how it's on his own, because this matter came before Bunge. And there's people who say, Sifuna, why don't you say these things in Bunge? We say them in Bunge. The good thing is that...
Or would you say these things if you want?
Yeah?
It's on record.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's on record what you've said in Bunge.
Yes.
Let's take a break.
The proceedings in Bunge are actually live.
There.
Yes. Yesterday, I don't know if you people saw, yesterday we, as the minority side, brought a motion to extend the time for the sitting of the Senate so that we can debate the deteriorating, security situation in the country. Do you know what happened?
Yeah.
The majority side, because they don't want debate on this thing, it is very difficult to defend some of these things, City. They know it's wrong. The majority side voted against debate on the issue of insecurity. I was very surprised. Even people that I consider friends, people like Danson Mungatana, the senator of Tana River, who knows that even in Tana River, there are questions of insecurity. The motion we were bringing was to discuss insecurity in the broader context. It doesn't have to be just about maandamano. I am the senator of Nairobi. I can discuss the question of the security situation in Kibra. The senator for Kiambu can tell us about the attack on Uhuru's farm. The senator for Kisumu, it was an opportunity for us to have a conversation. Is what the police doing right? They voted. And by the way, do you know how they defeated us? Because the score was 11-11, and the Senate rules say that if there's a draw, the motion is lost. Do you know how they achieved 11? The speaker voted. The person on the chair also voted and said, no, we will not have this debate. It's just ridiculous. But anyway, this bill came to the House, the bill on the reconstitution of the IEBC.
I want us to take a break. Then we go into it in detail.
Man, I'm on a roll, man.
Yeah, I can see. It's 27 minutes to 8. The Nairobi Senator Edwin Sifuna, who's also... what are you in the rank of Parliament?
I am also the Deputy Minority Whip.
You see?
Yes.
Yeah, you should have been able to whip more people so that you can defeat the president.
I did.
Number one.
I didn't know that the speaker was going to vote.
vote.
Yeah.
Oh, you had done your math and you knew you were winning.
Correct.
Okay. Okay, let's take that break and then we come back and continue this conversation. Also, remember, time for the Minute Maid break.
Indeed, when you feel as though the pressure is up to your ears, take a Minute Maid break across flavors: apple, pulpy orange, mango, tropical, and take an moment, de-stress, and then come back to it. Moments with Minute Maid.
This is the Situation Room, the only way to start your day.
His legs are huge as for
Santon, a fun new world of flavor, fruity freshness in every sip.
This year's film and TV market brings together buyers and sellers of content, and we'll have discussions that are themed around regulatory framework, business of film, distribution, funding, co-production, among other topical issues that are so critical to this industry.
If you're not going to be there, you're going to miss out so big.
So see you at the 6th edition of the Kalasha Film and TV Market.
From the 29th to the 31st of March.
See you there.
Hello, hello.
This is Season 5 on The Art of Living.
Welcome home.
We engage outstanding personalities in their extraordinary home.
The only thing I've brought into this house, I think I've made it a home.
Yes, this is custom piece. I love what you did here.
We get to see how they live it up.
This is really, really cute. My goodness.
Every Sunday, 6:30 p.m. only on KTN Home.
Can you send me that?
Will you send me that? Not you, Mia.
Hey, can you send me that?
While the rest of the world waits, just know we will bring you the runs again. And we will freeze in the stands with them, fly along with them. Just know that we will sprint and sweat with them. And never will we be late for their practice. We will meet on the mat with them and be spellbound by the legends we meet. We will witness the haka together and be grateful. We will show them doing it again. And when the time comes, we will bring them onto the grandstand.
Tunakuletea the best leagues on any screen, wherever you are, from only 1050 shillings per month, live from Supersport on Showmax Pro. Sign up on showmax.com.
If you want to be free and live like a child again, why stress about germs? If you must worry, then worry about winning. Why worry about germs? When you come home, bring tales and stories. Why bring in germs?
Shield your families from germs. When Dettol is a part of every household bucket, then you and your family can stay protected from up to 100 illness-causing germs.
Everyday use of Dettol keeps my loved ones protected.
Spice up your life. Mature, intelligent talk every morning. Spice up yourself. Mornings done right.
22 minutes to 8. The conversation continues with Nairobi Senator, who is also the Deputy Minority Whip in the Senate, who is also the National Secretary General of ODM, the second largest party by numbers in Parliament, Edwin Sifuna. Edwin, I like what you've how you've taken us through this,
Yes.
because you're now showing us what it would take for you to say, okay, we have seen movement, we can now call off the demonstration.
Yes.
You said number one, bring an UNGA subsidy. And then the other one is let's have a conversation about the IEBC composition, and we'll go into the others. This one of UNGA subsidy, a supplementary budget came to Parliament the other day.
Yes.
It was scrutinized by members of the budget committee. It was taken to the whole house. ODM has 8 members in the budget committee of the National Assembly. And Azimio as a whole has more than 10 members in that committee. But they approved the supplementary budget without pushing for the introduction of an amount that would go into the subsidy. Subsidy would come from a budget. The current budget policy statement has been approved by even your members and been recommended for passage before the whole house without any conversation here of, no, we recommend that you put a subsidy amount. What do you say to that?
First of all, it is not right. It's a mischaracterization of what happens in Parliament. Decisions, both at the committee level and in the House, are taken by majority. And I have said that the beauty with our democracy is that parliamentary proceedings are live. For instance, in the Senate, where I sit, that budget policy statement was unable to be passed for 3 weeks because of the opposition that you're discussing about. What you need to understand is that Parliament works by majority, and part of the reason why we said we need to take some of these conversations to the people is that we as elected representatives only, we undertake what is called delegated authority or delegated, what is the term?
Responsibility.
No, not responsibility. I will get the word back. But the truth is, when you are stuck as a delegate, like for instance, on this question of the IEBC, even on this question of the budget, once me as the elected senator of Nairobi, with all my wit, with all my brain, with all my eloquence, I have tried at the floor of the Senate to bring sanity to bear. Once I am defeated, I'm unable to do it because of the circumstances prevailing in the Senate, including the example I've given you yesterday, where rules are being flouted, rules of debate are being flouted to defeat every single attempt to bring sanity to bear.
Delegated
then I
legislation.
go, yes, no, it's a delegated authority, basically.
It's authority.
Yes. Then you have a right to go back
Sovereignty.
to the person who gave you that authority and tell them, this is where I'm stuck. Because the beauty is that these so-called Senate standing orders, they don't apply to the people of Kawangware or the people of Nairobi in general. So you have a right to go back to them. So what we have done, and
no,
you know that the origination...
answering that question directly and going by what you're saying, there's procedure. Of course, the majority will carry the day.
Correct.
But even in committee stage, if the minority strongly feel against something, they will produce a minority report.
That is what I'm saying. The minority report will go nowhere. We are not going to engage in exercises that are academic. And I want you people to understand.
For the record,
I think
it's there for the record.
Yes.
If my record indicates that Millie Odhiambo, Babu Owino, and the others
so it is there.
have also said to the supplementary
budget. They did not
budget.
say okay. They did not say okay because you would have to produce to me a Hansard report showing that they voted for those proposals.
And
they did not vote because
and their votes are made plain.
Yes, I speak as the SG of ODM. I speak to all our members, including this question of the budget policy statement. I know those members you're speaking about. I spoke to Honorable Sam Matandi, who's a member of that budget committee, and they give us the breakdown of what usually happens. Latif, there is impunity in Parliament. I am telling you. I have given you one example. Let me give you another one. The other day, there was a motion that was brought to the floor of the Senate to change our standing orders to essentially do what the president asked the leadership of Parliament to do, to allow these so-called cabinet secretaries to appear before the Senate. Now, on the face of that report, you know the report is brought to the House, right?
Yes.
The standing orders require that a report of a committee be adopted by a majority of the committee members.
Yes.
On the face of the document before me as your senator, there are 4 signatures out of 9. We raise the objection and tell the speaker that this is an unprocedural motion because of the so-called numbers. They bludgeon it through. Don't think that these people, because they know what they're doing is wrong, they don't follow the rules of procedure and the rules of debate in the House. So they passed this motion, and you see, for me, you can go to the Hansard, you will see the contributions of members of the minority, you will see the vote that Sifuna took on that particular issue, because we think that is the wrong thing to do. And we will follow up, because we have told them that it doesn't start and end in Parliament. We as the minority side are going to file a petition, because we believe these people are violating the rules of debate in the House. They are bringing in procedural motions, and they are bludgeoning them through. I understand that the people of Nairobi, those who supported the opposition, want to see an effort. And I believe that they are seeing the effort that we're putting in, both on the floor of the House and even outside the House, to bring some sanity to bear on some of these issues. So even on the budget, they brought the budget policy statement. We could not see, because one of the things that was very glaring for me, number one, they told us that they would cut borrowing. And the budget policy statement they brought had a deficit of about 800 million shillings, billion. And they told us that they are going to have to finance this through domestic and foreign borrowing. You know, we are going to oppose that when the Nini comes, because what we are seeing is that the recurrent expenditure is growing, yet there is no effort. Like this hiring of these CASs, it is totally superfluous and unnecessary. So how do you tell us you are loading up recurrent expenditure, and then at the same time you want to saddle us with more debt so that you can pay? There is no desire. Absolutely.
I'm a little lost here.
Yes.
Something I need to explain to me. What is a minority report?
A minority report is a report by members of a committee who disagree with the position taken by the majority in that committee.
So does a vote constitute a minority report?
No, it doesn't. Because
it has to be an
what Eric wants is an actual report every time we lose a vote in the...
Actually... Not every time. Specific to
saying that we disagree with
it. Actually, Eric has said he doesn't want one. I do. You know why?
Not every time. Basically, let me first explain.
Please.
I want the main ones. Yes. For example, on the matter of budget.
Yes.
Because budget then brings to bear everything that we're talking about. If the minority is not happy with the budget that has been presented by the executive, they ought to put it on record and say, we disagree with this.
Yes.
Okay? So when you now come out as the senator for Nairobi, as the leadership of Azimio, you say, we have objected to this in the House. They are bulldozing it to pass, but this is what would have presented had we actually sailed through.
Yes.
These were our amendments, and they've rejected these amendments. For example, you'd have said we'd have wanted 200 billion shillings to go to an unga subsidy on record in Hansard for posterity, and then on record out here. Continue.
So let me explain one thing before you conclude. Record in Parliament is the Hansard, and the contributions that people make on the floor constitute the record. It is not that the only record you can have is a minority report. I'm trying to remember there was a minority report that Junet Mohammed prepared. I don't remember what the issue was, but I remember Speaker Wetangula refusing to actually even put it to the floor for debate. I am telling you, we are operating in an environment of impunity. Yes. But at the end of the day, when these matters come to the floor of the House, even that minority report is subject to a vote. I understand what you're saying. You need to be able to see what our thoughts were, but I'm saying you can still discern those thoughts and those positions from the debate on the floor of the House.
You see, there is what parliamentarians understand, and there's what us lay people understand.
Yes.
You see, the report, from what I gather, has also a role. Otherwise, it wouldn't have been constituted.
Yes.
Now, that role, if I understand it correctly, is amalgaming all these voices of dissent and writing it down so that there's a document that represents all this dissent. How can that not be important?
So it is important. So you will the purpose of that minority report, because committee reports are voted on in plenary.
Yes.
The purpose of that report is for you to go to the whole House and report and say, we disagreed with the following things. And the intention was that it would be possible for the minority to convince the House at plenary to agree with them. You understand?
Yes.
But in the environment in which we are operating, where even the Speaker will not allow that minority report to be debated on the floor of the House, I am telling you, it serves no purpose. What we are saying is this, City. This democracy provides us with various platforms to actually air our views. And just like some people will say, oh, the greatest consequence is in Parliament. But at the end of the day, if I cannot get my report to be voted upon, because what has happened is that immediately we get into Parliament, they start decimating numbers on the opposition side. grabbing a few members here, a few members there. And the purpose was exactly this city, so that we are able to defeat these dissenting opinions. If we still had our numbers the way they were, we would be able to put a strong resistance. In fact, we were the majority in the National Assembly. And they knew they could not pass some of these things if the situation prevailed. That is why they went after our members. Because in Bunge, unfortunately, for you to achieve consequence, that thing has to be supported and passed as a motion in the House.
I agree.
Yeah.
But then, you've just described the political situation in this country and political processes.
Yes.
We saw this thing. I mean, we've seen it happening in our political landscape. We saw what Kibaki did, didn't we? Okay. Now, all I'm saying is, when the opposition present the things that they present, you see, you're explaining things in great detail that we did not understand.
Yes.
Would it also not help enormously if with every issue, instead of you, Sifuna, coming to explain it to us, you took the time to ensure that on every issue that this government has taken a position and you disagree with, that you actually voice and speak your suggestions. Speak. Saying, bring the price of unga down is, yeah, bring it down. We've heard. Okay, and then reduce school fees. Okay, we've heard. But what I'm saying is, sometimes, don't you think it would assist if people heard that Azimio's position when it comes to reducing or adding is this?
Yeah, so City, everything I'm saying here on radio and on TV, everything I say there in the rallies, I have said on the floor of the House. I think that is the point I want you to get. I have said these very things, and I want to use a good illustration that ties into the discussion that we're having on the question of the constitution of the panel of IEBC.
Yeah.
So this bill is brought to the House, right? And it proposes that we have a 7-member panel to reconstitute the IEBC. Those 7 members are supposed to be drawn, 2 from the Parliamentary Service Commission, 2 from what they call the Interreligious Council, 1 from the Law Society of Kenya, that makes 5, 1 from the Parliamentary Public Service Commission, and 1 from what they call the
Political Parties Liaison.
Yeah, Political Parties Liaison Committee. So when the bill comes to the floor of the House, you want me to tell you how we voice our dissent.
Yeah.
The proposal on 2 representatives of the Parliamentary Service Commission, we argued on the floor, and it's on the Hansard. It's a record, you can go and get it. That in fact we needed to tweak the language to make it clear that these 2 representatives of the Parliamentary Service Commission are a representative of 1 from the minority and 1 from the majority, so that you can have balance in that panel. You know? But as we speak, City, we were shot down. That amendment did not pass because of those numbers that I'm talking about. And what we ended up with is 2 representatives of the Parliamentary Service Commission nominated exclusively by the majority. Okay. These are the things we are discussing.
Okay.
Number 2, we told them that in fact, in our view, and these submissions are there, I'm using the same language I used on the floor, that in our view, the greatest stakeholders in an election, or the election body, or the electoral body, are the political players.
Nope.
That's
in
my
your
view.
Okay.
My view is that, and I gave the example of when the church convened the Council of Nicaea to settle controversies at the inception of Christianity. The bulk of those people were bishops and leaders of faith. Because essentially, if we are determining what goes into the Bible as the gospel, you cannot call plumbers and media, practitioners to settle that controversy. They are the people who you call. I gave the example of an election of FKF, Federation of Kenyan Football. It is the clubs participating in the
election
who elect even rugby, which I know is a fan. Eric is a fan. KRU, when they are electing, I'm sure I hear they have elections.
The upcoming elections.
Yes. Who are the people who vote in those elections?
It's the clubs.
So in my view, very humble view, the greatest stakeholders, because the political parties are a tool for democratic participation. They're actually the greatest tool of political participation, because if you look at the number of people who participate in elections through political parties, there are more than those who participate as independents and through other ways. So our conversation was around, number 1, this position that was given to the Public Service Commission my view again is that the Public Service Commission is an extension of the executive because that person is an appointee.
That's true.
Of the president.
Yep.
So why would you give the president that one slot? Tumempatia your PSC. Number two, amechukua the two representatives from parliament, from the majority side. That's already 3 people. Then we come to this
clergy.
These people called the clergy. Now this is the most controversial one. Number one, you are talking about an organization that is not anchored in law. This thing called the Interreligious Council does not exist anywhere in law. So we asked the question on the floor, who are these Interreligious Council? Now, you understand what has happened with the leaders of the faith in the country, because they have decided to take, not all of them, a large section, especially of the evangelicals, have decided to take sides. They are the ones who are, holding prayers for rains.
Actually, you would argue that the religious grouping in this country is
divided.
All taken sides.
No, now this is the issue I'm coming to, City, because we saw the danger that, in fact, if you say we are going to select 2 people from the Interreligious Council, these people are all going to come from the side of the religious groupings that have coalesced around the president, the first lady, and the deputy president's wife. They are the prayer warriors in State House. And to reinforce my point, I told you that I had a meeting with the Archbishop of Nairobi, because I went to him. I'm Catholic. He's my leader of the faith, to explain to him why we are doing the things we are doing here in Nairobi, my expectations and his expectations. We had a very good meeting. And I asked my bishop, was the Catholic Church consulted or involved in the selection of the 2 representatives of the Interreligious Council?
He said no.
And he said no.
Okay.
So the Catholic Church, with the entire following of the Catholic Church in Kenya, did not participate in this.
Let me ask you, Edwin.
I am telling you, there is a problem. And
This-
by the
this
way,
reconstitution-
I followed up.
This reconstitution.
I followed up, and
because
that's
I want-
another major
I'd like you
mainstream
to
church,
compare and tell
the
us.
Anglican Church, of which Baba is a member. Baba also told me that his bishops have told him that the Anglican Church was not involved. So I am telling you guys, all of these people, the 7 people, are people who have been selected to be at the beck and call of the current regime.
president.
And we are saying it is not possible for you.
It is not right.
It is not right.
Okay.
And we are saying it's not possible.
The
Actually,
law-
because
the
what
law
we
that
have
was
said
amended,
is that this team here,
the law that was amended,
yes,
what did it replace? How was that selection panel constituted previously?
Initially,
the one that brought in the Cherera 4.
The bulk of the representation was the Parliamentary Service Commission
with
4, and it was clear in that particular law that 2 were going to represent the minority and 2 were going to represent the majority.
Which are all handshake.
No. There's nothing like all handshake.
Majority,
There's
minority,
nothing like all handshake. What we are saying is that is what the law is.
I have a question for
you.
Okay. Who are the other 3 members?
Let me finish the 3 other members.
There was LSK.
Yeah. The next one is this representative of the Political Parties Liaison Committee. And Azimio, because Azimio is the largest coalition. We are the bulk of the political parties at the PPLC. The PPLC is constituted of political parties, the IEBC, and the registrar of political parties. It's supposed to be a place where all these political players can be able to exchange ideas. It's just a talk shop. Then you give them 1 slot, and they end up with the chairman of this party called Progressive Party of Kenya, which is essentially a Kenya Kwanza political party. He ran for some seat there in Kisii and came 3rd. And he's a supporter of William Ruto. It's on record. You can fact check me on that if you want. Then the last one is the LSK. Of course, for the LSK, I'm a member. I publicly asked the president of the Law Society of Kenya not to send a nominee because this is a charade. Because this person, the problem is people don't understand that these people, all of them...
You've explained, we've understood.
Yeah, just a minute. There's another point I want you to understand. All these 7 people, when the candidates come before them, will be scoring them.
Okay.
And the aggregate of all the scores that each one gets is how people get onto the commission.
In 30 seconds, Edwin Sifuna.
It is pointless for you to have 1 representative
in
there.
30
because
seconds,
it will do nothing.
Edwin Sifuna.
Yes.
The previous panel
yes.
that brought in the Cherera 4, it had 4 members of the Parliamentary Service Commission, 2
yes.
from majority, 2 from minority. Majority was Jubilee, minority was NASA. It had, who are the other members? Law Society?
LSK was there.
Right.
PSC was still there.
Right.
And I think I don't know who were there. I don't know who. I think the Faiths were there.
The Faiths were there. So the only difference this time is that you've reduced the number of members